Round 12 then of the Super Rugby season, Africa Conference 1. That's the match that's up tonight. And it's the SUNWOLVES at home in Singapore against the Stormers. Absolutely beautiful evening, perhaps a little bit humid for many, and lots of South Africans that are in the crowd. They've flown in from Hong Kong, and of course those that live here too. And that's the Stormers really looking for a third victory here, following those early two that they had in a row. Well, up front, it's lots of experience, lots of power. And then Peter Steph-Totoy, young J.D. Schickeling moves in his place, rather in the place of Reynard Elstraat, who moves to the side of the scrum. And Nizam Carr, perhaps in his best position at number 8. Watch out for Siya Khaleesi. Well, Jean-Luc du Plessis is growing in stature. He has a new scrum half this week. And at centre, the power of De Allender and the fleet-footedness of De Jong will hopefully help the Stormers. And the back three then, Johnny Kotze comes in on the right wing. Kobus van Wyk shifts to the left. Well, it's a fantastic replacement bench, this, with some real power up front. Benambi, Kevel and Koch. And then the speed of, and the guile and the experience of Schalk Burger to add to the mix. Well, the SUNWOLVES have not had a happy season, just the one victory against the Jaguars, and 8 that they've lost. But still, they've picked a very big combination, a full international front row that'll be up against the Stormers tonight. All remarkably that Lamalu and along there with Bond, Andrew Duratalo has, of course, international experience with America. And so much will rely on these two men. PC in particular at Fluff, but can Iwasa give him the service that he needs? Derek Carpenter and Tatakawa will be the centres today. And then Yamada, who scored so many tries in this year's season, and inside, or behind him rather, Rion Viljoen, the South African. Well, captain Shata Hori is on the bench tonight. He's number 16. Well, it's just the last little hugs there from the Stormers players who were out here to practice yesterday afternoon when this retractable roof was actually open, so it was raining. And well, certainly this field itself is sand-based, and it's a very, very interesting and a very different field. And just while we wait for the teams to come out, alongside me in commentary here, Kobani Bobo, and I want to ask you that question before we introduce our man pitchside downstairs, that this pitch is a foreign one for all these players. They haven't played here before, essentially. And what do you make of the surface?
I think it's a brilliant surface. I think the way that it seems a very quick pitch. I think it will suit the both sides, the way that they play, the way that they put themselves, and the way they go about execution. It's a more ball-based play that they have. They keep the ball in position, and the both sides would enjoy this kind of pitch, because I just want to see if it's going to hold on the scrums. I think that's the only chat we would maybe trying to see from the first statement, from the statement that they want to make in those scrums. So it's going to be a good game. I think both teams want to really explore this, and it's good to see the people from Singapore have come out and they've enjoyed themselves and they're coming up to support the both sides.
Well, there's a wonderful love for the game of rugby, even if it isn't culturally deep in this part of the world. But certainly the people that have come out, the people we met in the streets, and it's very humid. Yeah, that's maybe the one thing that'll be interesting too. With closing the roof, does it get more humid? Does it mean that maybe there's a few more knock-ons and handling errors? Well, that remains to be seen. But the man who's closest to that action down pitch side is former Springbok hooker and Yanni Shimangi. And Shimmy, just maybe that's the question to you. Are you in agreement with what Kobani said about the pitch? And essentially, do you feel the humidity is going to affect this game?
Yeah, Gav, just good evening. Yeah, look, I think the humidity will definitely affect probably, some knock-ons, because it will be a slippery ball there. But in terms of that, there's no wind whatsoever, and it's a good pitch. It's a nice wide pitch. I know you're speaking to Mark Hammett. They want to use the width of the field, attack, and the SUNWOLVES do hold on to the ball well. So for the Stormers, they'll want to get position, get off to a good start. And for the SUNWOLVES, just, keep sticking at it and more of what they've been doing.
Well, there's a cheer certainly as the SUNWOLVES are led out by Adamichi Tatakawa, who will take over the captaincy of this team. That's him in picture now. As we said, Shota Hori, the normal captain, is down on the bench for this particular match. Just looking through this team too, very interesting that they have in fact picked a power side as much as they can in Gabani, and one of the challenges for them this season has been line-outs. Looks like the Stormers have gone for the good line-out option.
Yeah, the line-outs, the Stormers have really put a lot of emphasis on it. I think Russell Winter's been doing a great job with the players. Having a Riyad Alstead on the flank, that's going to give him a much more options on the back of the line-out. I think what the Stormers really want to do, they want to come with a powerful pack. They're going to be lots of players who can carry the ball there. You mentioned Alstead, Kolisi, Nizam Khan. We know how it is. There's a great link between the forwards and the backs. And then you want to see the young and the much talented athletic block of JD Shekeling mixing it up with Peter Steph Dutoy. I think that we want to really get themselves into a high-tempo game. And hopefully Scarron Tubeni takes his opportunity as he starts this game against the SUNWOLVES.
Well, as we said a little bit earlier too, we've certainly been a high-scoring venue. Their home games this year, the SUNWOLVES, 55 points in average that have been scored. Have a look at that then. That gives you an idea of the temperature within the stadium in many, many ways. So Tusi Pisi is the fly half with 83 points to his name, and basically I think a kicking record that he'd like to improve on a little bit. Just operating at 78%. And immediately goes pretty deep. Cheslin Colby with a kick downfield, and that's a great start that for Cheslin Colby. Quick throw in from Rion Fullion, but it looks like that was carried into touch.
Yep. No, he stepped into touch.
He stepped into touch is the message that came. So Rion Fullion, not the best of starts for him. But a great kick that from Cheslin Colby.
Standing kick from Cheslin Colby. Gets them in the right position where they want to start the game. And it's already the Stormers have gone with the short line out. We want to see what they're going to put together in the backs. Already with their loose forwards right on the edges of the field. So interesting ploy from the start from the Stormers.
First start then for Scarron Tubeni since his injury. Of course, he's had game time, but this is a starting opportunity for him. Lewis Schroeder, who's in the scrum half position. The knock-on coming there from JD Shekeling.
Yeah, Gavin, interestingly enough, you saw the SUNWOLVES, the first line-out didn't offer a contest at all because they're worried about the Stormers more, so not even going up for that ball as a two-lock try combined there. Yeah, Shekeling was in a good position, just dropped it right at the end.
Well, there's two other areas that have also troubled them somewhat, and that's missed tackles and their high rate of turnovers, the SUNWOLVES. So they would be worried to a certain extent by that. But it's interesting as well, maybe the Stormers scrum hasn't always stood that well this season at times. And do they feel that they can actually match the Stormers at that set piece? Well, Shimmy, maybe you got to answer that one. You're the only forward amongst us.
Well, best of luck.
Look, the Stormers should win, in my opinion, they should win the scrum battle. Hands down, you know, you look at the game at Newlands, which I also did there, but the Stormers scrum was a lot stronger. Where the SUNWOLVES are very good is their scrum incredibly low. You'll see the height of it, and that ball generally doesn't last in that scrum. So 2-3 seconds, the ball's out and they play from there.
So Paul Williams just asking for a little bit more unity in those scrums, and as you said, Shimmy, they do get on very low. One of the good things for the Stormers too is they've got a great bench when it comes to certainly the scrum work, and you know, being able to bring the likes of Kebble and Koch on, for example, Bongi Manambi, who's up and playing, having a really good season too.
Point. Set.
So Atushi Iwasha then with the put in. Well, it's a tight head here to the Stormers, is it?
Yeah, tight head.
And that's really excellent effort that, and a great start now for the Stormers right up front. And a pretty easy kick for Jean-Luc Duplessis if they choose to do so. Well, the Stormers came off a bye last week after having narrowly lost to the Waratahs the week before. I suppose sometimes the jury's out on whether a bye is a good thing or a bad thing.
Always is the case, and we're always trying to lament on that, but it's a great strike from Scarron Tubeni there. One, they get the tight hit, just a ball that maybe he wanted to move that ball in his arm car so they can use that opportunity, but good work from Quirk as he got over the ball and slowed it down, but at the end they succumbed to a penalty as those two players converging on top of that ball as it was a ruck, no hands in that ruck.
So 59 points then to Jean-Luc Duplessis this season. He's had a really good start since that first squad that he was chosen in for the Sharks, and it's a great start from him. Always nice to get one from up front, provided you get it over, of course.
Yeah, it's a positive start for the Stormers. The first time in the SUNWOLVES 22 meters they come out with a return, but you know, you also got to lament that take from Rian Fullion early on that gave the Stormers the opportunity to attack from kickoff. So they'll be looking for better clarity or better execution when the SUNWOLVES kick off again.
Yeah, I guess for the SUNWOLVES, a lot will also hinge on the quality of possession they get secondly, but maybe just possession full stop, number one. The Stormers can be a really tough side to play against if they get their act together. And little mistakes like that. Second one now. Rian Fullion stepping into touch, and then that ball not going 10 meters. And the Stormers off their feet at the breakdown point.
Takes the ball very well. Damien Dealander, this is going to be not really accurate in that clean. I think it's something that he has to look on. I know that he wants to make an impact in this game, but just a bit of clarity and just having a bit of patience and waiting for the target or maybe the threat from that ruck and then attack that.
So 25 caps for Samoa at international level. To see PC and so much reliant on him too in terms of getting points for the SUNWOLVES. No problem with the distance, and it's as straight as a die. The two fly halves then offering penalties in the first 5 minutes. So Duplessis now looks to go pretty deep with a very high hanging kick. On the right wing, Yamada for the SUNWOLVES has had an exceptional season, scoring 7 tries in 7 matches. And that's a team that's been on the back foot largely. American international Andrew Duratola, who's a 7 specialist, has been brought into this team. He's a very physical man. Now Cheslin Colby gets out of 2 tackles and he's got his players on the front foot. Duplessis, Kolisi, Schroeder. Well, the Stormers will be mindful of interceptions. It's happened to them in recent times too.
And if you guys have picked that up, it's interesting how the SUNWOLVES are defending. They're not contesting the ball at the ground where they've been generally been quite good. They're actually falling off, and that's why they're getting good line speed here, because they've got more numbers than the Stormers in terms of defense against attack. So it gives them the opportunity to come up and make hits on the line.
Well, that's a great point, that Shimi. Especially when you have the full coverage, it gives everyone a bit of confidence within inside and outside, and then players are communicating and then getting up and really shutting down the pressure. I think the long passes will be something that the Stormers will want to take out from their game.
Well, they've got close to 60% of the possession at the moment, the Stormers. They've brought Cheslin Colby into the fly half position too, providing him with options, and I'm sure they want to use him as an attacking weapon as much as possible. That's very neatly through the hands. Kotze with a charge downfield. It's a really good ball, but slow delivery now. Well, Schroeder wasn't up there, and eventually Kotze had to do some work. So Duplessis in at scrum half. Peter Steph Totoy. Well, cleaning out from Siakalisi, I fancy was illegal. Coming in from the side of that ruck. The ruck had been formed.
Well, the breakdown skills from the South African side has been something that has been desired to lots of work to put on. Siakalisi coming in from the side and trying to clean the player. Just something that the accuracy from making sure that the carry is inspired, it makes the cleaning much easier, but it not finding touches the SUNWOLVES here.
This time Colby, no kick from him. Quickly through the hands to Kobus Verwijk. He has Damien Dealander. Knocks off the first one. This is where he can be so useful to powering his way with a team that's very defensively aligned at the moment, as we've heard from our fellow commentators. Peter Steph-Toy, every Stormers player looking to try and get that extra meter, get the team on the front foot as a more attacking mechanism. JD Schickerling going to ground. Duplessis, the long kick, doesn't quite get the bounce he would have wanted. Now, Rion Viljoen, as we know, can kick the ball some distance, but decides to go into the middle of the park. Colby. Well, certainly keeping these SUNWOLVES players running across the field there, but eventually it's a pretty good reply, that, so they've got themselves into the Stormers' half of the field.
It's a very good reply from Tuisipisi. You can see Jean-Luc Duplessis saw that there's nothing on there, so decided to just hoof it downfield, because the SUNWOLVES are coming up quite quickly, so losing that battle there, but great positional play from Tuisipisi.
Well, this man throwing in will certainly be pleased with how his first line out and his first scrum went. I'm not so sure about that line out. So the SUNWOLVES now holding the ball, keeping it in hand. Quickly through the hands of Iwatha. That scrum after good counter-rucking here from the Stormers. Viljoen trying to come back in field, but they're absolutely getting swamped, and the Stormers are flooding the breakdown point. It's a second kick that hasn't really gone where they might have wanted it to go, the SUNWOLVES. And well, that might have been a little bit of a nothing kick from Damien Dallender. That's going to go into touch and goal, so they're going to come back some distance.
Yeah, and just the two teams just lacking a bit of rhythm at the moment, trying to get the phases or trying to play, but at the breakdown the Stormers are making some good defensive hits and managing to counter-rack. This was just a missed call, it looked like, from the Stormers line out, so ball went right over the top. Just miscommunication, but again the SUNWOLVES, you can see Tuisipisi Kobani, very good short kicking game. He'll mix it up a bit with the SUNWOLVES.
Yeah, it's been an interesting tactic that they've been putting up, two up and unders from Tatekawa and Tuisipisi. It's an interesting tactic for me. I know that they want to kick contestable kicks. They know the danger of Charles Colby in the back, that he can counter, especially if it's given time. So contestable kicks, making sure that they put the pressure onto the back three of the Stormers.
Well, sometimes it's quite difficult as well to transfer when you're really defensively aligned, and you've got to really make sure that those kick chases work for you. That the kicking accuracy becomes even more important. Massa quickly through the hands there. This time they're standing very flat, looking for an opening there. And for the first time, really, well, it's the first real ball that they've got an opportunity to attack. Colby backfoot, the bounce favours the SUNWOLVES. Here's their opportunity. Duratalo getting up close. And that ball right on the line, and then the dive for the line. The assistant referee's flag stays down, and the try has been scored. Well, that's his number 8 in his 8th match.
Oh, it's brilliant play from Tuisipisi. Again, the deception from the line of the launch from the scrum, the way that they carried along, it kept himself alive. This kick, just putting the pressure back and transferring the pressure around. Viljoen, Yamada, all is searching for that ball. Great carry again from Duratalo. All the players here putting the pressure close to the line. Opportunity. This try from Yamada, definitely a try poacher again in the corner. 8th try for the season.
Yeah, Bobs, and he knows that he finds his way to the try line. Yamada, crowd favourite here. Every time he gets the ball, there's a very air of an excitement in the stadium, so Yamada gets another one. Not the prettiest stripe, but they all count.
Well, it's a wonderful record too. If you look at Super Rugby and you know how many tries he's scored, he's right up at the top there in a team that essentially hasn't been winning many matches. In fact, just the one. So PC from the touchline. Given it a good belt, hasn't he? But it's just slipped past the right hand upright. Well, if you have a look at the last match too that was played, 46-19 in Cape Town, there was 5 tries to 3. And the Stormers don't leak tries that easily, so the Sunwolves have got the attacking prowess if they need it.
This was good work here. Duritalo so busy. And look at that fight on the ground. Just he buys time for the supporting players to come here. But Yamada, the tiniest opportunity, the smallest gap down the blind side. And look at that. He's a try snatcher.
Same man in picture then, the try scorer with a catch. In fact, no, it wasn't him with a catch. Not too much time there to really get some distance on that kick. PC.
Well, that's the result you want when you kick deep inside the 22. You want to get yourself in an attacking opportunity just outside the 22 so that you can start doing your launches. Interesting to see how the Stormers started off with a short line out and now they've gone the full line out.
Catch and drive, not at this point in time. They keep the ball, moving it wide when there's no competition, as there hasn't been on occasions of the line out from the Sunwolves. The Stormers want to keep it a little bit tighter, a little bit closer. Nazim Kar, haven't really seen anything of him yet. It's still only 14 minutes in this match. Knock on coming then from the Sunwolves up front there.
And good positive energy from the Sunwolves on D here. Well, you're not allowed to play the 9, and look at that, the Sunwolves player actually pulls them away from that rack. But good work, they're making good decisions at the breakdown of the Sunwolves, so counting for them at the moment.
9.
So the Stormers run about that 60% mark, so getting enough possession, and certainly territory has been pretty dominant for them on what is a foreign surface to all of these players. In fact, Paul True was saying to me that he won his first sevens tournament with the Blitzbokke here in 2004. He's got good memories of this stadium, and of course he's part of the coaching squad of the Stormers.
Yeah, he's working as a defensive coach for the Stormers. Interesting, you can't go mention Singapore without mentioning Kenya winning it a few weeks ago. What a pleasant time there was. It's a very special field indeed for African teams.
Shemi, there was a comment a little bit earlier from Kabani. Let's wait and see how the field holds up. Had a couple of scrums. How's it looking down there?
No, still in good nick and looking good there. But, you know, the scrums, the good thing, there haven't been many resets, so that was the first one there. But really good surface here. Still holding up beautifully. It's a good scrum also from the Stormers.
Yeah, another great scrum from them. Just held at the back by Nazim Kar. Breaks away then. Here's Schroeder. You know, we spoke earlier about the humidity here, and is it going to affect the players? I mean, it's quite sweaty here in the commentary box for a start. Imagine what it's like down on the field.
Yeah, I'm wondering why Nizamkar actually decided to use that rule, unless the call came from the referee. The Stormer scrum was going forward nicely. They could have just kept that, they probably would have gotten penalty advantage if you held it in a bit longer.
Yeah, something interesting for me, Shimi, is the positioning of the scrum half. We talked about the scrum half not trying to follow with the new laws, especially that were supposed to be deployed now within the Super Rugby. It's something that pressure that he put on Nizamkar. Normally scrum halves are not getting in between the scrum half, the flanker and the 8th man. They're not supposed to be in that space. So maybe something just have a little saying on the ear for the ref just to look out for.
Yeah, there's an adaptation process as well, one feels. Tough ball for Colby, beautifully fielded. Just look at, once again, providing front foot opportunity for his team. That ball's been taken away. See quite a lot of Andrew Duritalo for the Sunwolves. Certainly he does bring that physicality that they'd be looking for. Just a very fit man for a guy who's 30 years of age. Now Van Wyk.
Advantage is over.
Kobus Van Wyk doesn't do a lot of kicking.
It's not a bad little option actually. If that ball had bounced the right way, Johnny Kutsa would have been in business there. But getting the Sunwolves coming up quite quickly, and the defensive system is sort of upsetting the Stormers' rhythm here, but the kick there, if it stayed on, it would have been beautiful.
You said the Sunwolves are not jumping in the line out. I think they'd want to maybe do it on this occasion, eh? Target man there was Tim Bond. But, they've gone and lost it. So this is good ball this for the Stormers. Scarran Tabini, I'm sure he really wants to make his mark. Starting in this match. Dallender, beautiful run there into space. And that's quick delivery too. It's exactly what the Stormers wanted. It's really going to be a question of breaking down defence here, because once again the Sunwolves carefully aligned across the field. But possession and certainly territory belonging to the Stormers right now. Into phase 7. Duplessis. Dallender once again. And there's no question that they are looking to line him up as much as possible to Schroeder. Into the half gap. I just wonder if the Stormers might be looking for just a little change here somewhere along the line. Maybe tighten things up a little bit for a while. But they are getting the possession now. John de Jong has hardly touched the ball in this game to date. Now up into going into phase 12, the Stormers. Can they finish this off with a try? One gets the feeling that every try tonight is going to be really hard work, for as long as the Sunwolves are able to maintain their defensive alignment and their defensive strength. Colby quickly through the hands. Now Van Wyk back in field to Jean de Jong, who's going to provide the breakthrough if it's going to come. Everybody standing very, very flat. JC Janssen van Rensburg on that occasion. And it really is aiding the cause of the Stormers, because the players are just going straight ahead towards the Sunwolves try line, not having to turn and come back and realign. Janssen van Rensburg. Have a look at that. 20 phases. The Sunwolves will take a lot out of that if a try isn't scored, because they've really shown some defensive mettle here right now. Duplessis, de Jong, he likes a little bit of space to do some stepping. It's quickly closed down though. Johnny Kotzer. Tackle count certainly mounting as far as the Sunwolves are concerned. And one thing that's haunted them this season has been turnovers. This time they take one away from the Stormers.
That's great defensive work from the Sunwolves. I think, Gavin, you mentioned it, 19, 20 phases the Stormers went through, not managing to break the line there, but eventually they were patient, they got the turnover, and now a penalty. But fantastic work here, I must say, from the Sunwolves. Duratalo all over that ball, he poaches it back here. From then on, they're just trying to get it into space, but fantastic defensive work and courage from the Sunwolves.
You sort of feel, Shimmy, that the Stormers will be quite disappointed with their attacking formation, especially on their third and fourth phase. They seem to be lacking numbers on their outside. Most of the players are taking the ball up. And with the line that is the Sunwolves are providing, they really need to be much more direct, get more yards behind that line so that they can't have the time to adjust and keep the line on that in sync.
Molly on that occasion, the catcher there for the Sunwolves in that line out. Uwasa. The Stormers really looking to try and tackle the Sunwolves behind that advantage line. It's good work there. Firstly from Dallender. And a shrill blast on Paul Williams' whistle with a penalty here to the Sunwolves. And it seems like the Stormers were offside. So a question mark now. Can he make it here? Can he reach the goal?
Well, I felt that when Coach the 10-meter line before the ball was out, the line out was not even over. Offside the whole back line, trying to put up the line speed, the Stormers jumping the gun a bit.
So no kick at goal then, as PC wins some valuable territory for his team, and they've spent so much time in their own half of the field, the Sunwolves, but they'll be looking at that scoreboard and saying, well guys, you know, so far so good. We're halfway through this first half and we're hanging in quite well.
Well, they'll be very comfortable. They're making very strong tackles. They're getting themselves in the right positions, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the breakdown. They're turning over ball at will. I think it's going well for them. I think all their key performance indicators, they'll be taking them away.
Another clever little change of tactic there. The front line-out ball for Andrew Durutalo. Iwasa. It's gone off quickly through the hands then. Again, it's a change of direction. Creating a little bit of confusion there in the defensive ranks of the Stormers. But Duplessis' kick is going to bring some welcome relief. In fact, that's an outstanding kick. It's gone close to 50 meters.
Yeah, and a missed opportunity from the Sunwolves. That's all I thought. I mean, Kubani, you must be impressed with this backline movie. Some really good work.
Oh, it's unbelievable the way that they do their wraparounds, and then the deceptiveness of their players. Just the way that they're willing to carry. Most of the attack comes from Tusi PC, so it's the kind of pressure that you want to put on. But he's done well as an old head amongst that back line, just to always choose the right moments and the right calls, and execution has been good from their side.
Again, the line-out target there is Molly. Now the long pass, that's a super pass. Open up a little bit of space for Stewart. Well, now the question is, can the Sunwolves take it through 20 phases? The Stormers are going to get up on them quickly. Good competition at the breakdown there. Initially from Peter Steph-Totoy. Eventually, the ruck had actually beaten him, so he needed to pull away. Well, the Sunwolves will be really pleased with the last couple of minutes. They're starting to feel that they may be coming into this game with a little bit more quality ball and pressure at the breakdown points.
Yeah, what's positive is that they're making good meters on attack. You know, they're using that four-man line-out, but they're getting space out wide, and this time down the middle through Durutalo. So a lot of energy when the Sunwolves attack, and they're getting the result.
It's an interesting way that they've started to target the first receiver and the second receiving position and attack. As you see, Damien Dialendi, hands in the ruck again. The ref being consistent on that. No hands in that ruck and penalizing the Stormers. It's the way that they attacking the two centers and the disconnect between the fly half and the inside center. The wraparounds are keeping them really honest between Damien Dialendi and Jean-Luc Duplessis. It's going to be a hard work for the Stormers. The way that the Sunwolves are keeping the ball is really putting the pressure in those players.
From straight up front then, PC with another 3 points. And they're into double figures, are the Sunwolves. Well, it's down to basic game planning, and you had a chat to Mark Hammett a little bit earlier, Shimmy, well, before the start of the game, of course, that they really seem to have worked out their game plan against the Stormers, how best to play against the Stormers, and so far executing it pretty well.
No, definitely, and the good thing about, I suppose, the Sunwolves, if you watch a lot of the J-League or the Japanese league games, they do run the ball a lot, incredibly fit, and a high-paced game suits them.
PC, the little grubber through. Which way does this bounce now? Well, it's just all a little bit awry at the moment. The ball was all over the place, but they've got some numbers here if they could have used it. The Sunwolves. No ball went forward there, so Peter Steph-Totoy then looking for continuity with a little pop pass. One just gets the feeling too that sometimes if the game does get a little bit loose, it actually favours the Sunwolves.
And if you're looking back there, Gavin, sorry, but it looks like JC Janssen van Rensburg has hurt himself badly. His leg got stuck. It looked like it got stuck in a rack and his knee buckled a bit. So it doesn't look good for him at all. Ollie Cable warming up on pitch side.
That would certainly be disappointing as well for JC Janssen van Rensburg, really getting an opportunity to settle down into a position, get good game time. There's the little knock-on coming from Jean-Luc Duplessis. I'm sure sets his standards a little bit higher than that particular area. But this is a worry for the Stormers.
And he just come up off a long sort of injury layoff. And you just hope, well, it's the knee that's strapped. That looks like he hurt it. But you could see him as soon as, I think he got hit from the side. Didn't look happy at all.
Well, the brains trust of the Stormers then. See Paul True running around here, and then Robbie Fleck, Russell Winter.
And it's a quick turnaround for the Stormers. On Friday night, they're back down to play against the Bulls in Pretoria. And the SUNWOLVES on to the surgeon as they keep on touring, travelling away game in Brisbane against the Reds. But it's about this game that is important. I think the SUNWOLVES, the way the strategy they've gone about it, that's a great analysis from the players. And it's good to see that the crowds in Singapore have really backed their team. And it's good that they're actually rewarding the crowd for coming out here by putting on a great performance at the moment.
Well, they certainly are, and the crowd are in free spirit too. Certainly some great cheers, and also good to see so many South Africans that live out here or in the area. Shimmy, a whole lot of your mates from UCT were applying their rugby trade in Hong Kong here as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I know, they all came staying at the same hotel as us. So, I think Liam Slatum, he's around, and a couple of the UCT boys up here come to support their big mates, obviously with Nick Groom being part of the club, Nizam Kar, and Sia Kulisi and Scudder, the old UCT boys, so come out here to support their mates and the Stormers.
Matthew Rosley, Dylan Rogers, a couple of others too.
Yep.
All the naughty boys that you played with, Jimmy.
I had to look after them, Gav.
So a lovely little grubber. Certainly the kicking has been outstanding from, in fact, generally speaking, the SUNWOLVES have not made too many mistakes outside of that tight head that they lost at the scrum. Their execution has been pretty good.
Oh, technically, they're just doing the right things at the right time. Perfect way to put it through a grabber right in between the gap and putting on that grabber, right, putting the pressure back to the Stormers. The way of transferring pressure has been good for the SUNWOLVES, and a very comfortable ball in hand, which was going to be a big test for the defensive side of the Stormers.
So short line out this time to Peter Steph-Toy. Du Plessis relatively unhindered, and well, it's a solid enough kick from him.
Yeah, and the SUNWOLVES have got one area where they are very good, is they've got an incredibly good short kicking game, 2CPC running it, and he'll just put in these little stabs, make you play backwards the whole time. But the Stormers here, at the moment they're looking like a team that's come off a layoff. And you mentioned it earlier, guys, you spoke about, is it a good or bad thing? At the moment, it's not a good thing for the Stormers.
Yeah, no rhythm, no momentum at all. Just everyone seemingly to be doing their own job.
And one's got to also believe that this is a really important game for the Stormers. Having narrowly lost against the Waratahs when that could have gone either way. And they desperately need a victory here to try and cement that #1 position. And of course, it's all about home semi-finals and ultimately home finals that people are certainly in people's thoughts, if not their discussions that they have. He getting a lot of ball from the breakdown point and then opening it up there for Liaki Moli. Well, one really gets the feeling that the SUNWOLVES at the moment, are playing the guitar, and the Stormers are having to dance a fair bit, yeah.
And Ollie Cable looks like he's coming on. JC Janssen van Rensburg. They need not good, so substitution be made here, but Stormers been found offsides. But the big runners for the SUNWOLVES are doing the job here. That's probably where they've lacked in terms of physicality, fitness. They're there, the speed of the game, they hold on to position, but they need some big runners, and the guys, well, the SUNWOLVES have definitely come to the party in terms of that.
Yeah, the average age as well of the SUNWOLVES team is higher than most Super Rugby teams too, so there's obviously a lot of pressure that's placed on them looking at a defensive strategy in a match and all the tackles they've got to make. So utilising their bench in a positive way, where they've got 3 internationals, could be really important to them. So PC, another excellent kick from him, nice easy kicking style, and the score's now mounting for the SUNWOLVES. So then confirmation then of Oliver Kebbel, who's on for JC Janssen van Rensburg. Very disappointing for the big number 1. This time the deep kick in from Jean-Luc Duplessis.
Red, stop.
I tell you what, that's a very good reply too. Right up to the halfway line there from the Sunwolves. It's had a busy evening to see PC at fly half. Taking a bit of pressure off his fullback, Rian Fulun.
Orchestrates the whole play very well. This has been very influential in the way that he's changed in tactics, his passed, he's done wraparounds, has put the pressure back at the Stormers.
Well, there's one of the answers to the humidity crisis, which is always the enemy of a rugby player. The towels out to help Skara and Tabeni.
Starting to be a little bit of a cake sort down there.
Although the Sunwolves have not missed a lot of tackles this season, tonight they seem to have saved a lot of them up to make sure that it works for them. Now the Stormers, really good work there from Schickerling.
Step.
Malherba. Peter Steph-Totoy at first receiver. You can see Duratalo once again getting over that ball. He missed it on that occasion, but he's creating a lot of trouble for the Stormers at the breakdown points, is Andrew Duratalo. Duplessis, the long pass. Now, Dallender looking to initially go back in field. He's done well to make sure that he's not shoveled into touch. Look at that competition there from Duratalo once again. Some excellent play from him and also from John Stewart.
It's a dominant, strong tackle from John Stewart. Gives Earthquake a big chance to get into that ball. Storm was not accurate at getting that breakdown, but good work from the winger. Strong defensive tackle, getting the man onto the ground as quick as possible. Earthquake right on top of it like a flash. Gives themselves a chance. And this is a warning signs for the Stormers. Rian Fulun can punish you from anywhere.
He was given a couple of these a big whack before the match started from around about this distance. In fact, he was kicking in the other direction, one has to say. And also, one would find sometimes with retractable roofs, once you've closed the roof in, sometimes the ball doesn't always travel as far as you would want it to normally. But he was certainly getting this sort of distance. Question around accuracy might be posed. At the moment, this to get what is a reasonably substantial lead already, but it's not going to make the distance. Colby.
Blue, stop, 8.
Back to Fulun again. This time PC will make the call. Decides to go with that up and under, and it's a pinpoint 1-2. Well, the man who's gone down is Jean-Luc Duplessis at the moment, and the medical staff, oh dear. The Stormers have had enough problems at fly half. They don't want another one.
It's a great contest at the end. Another contestable kick from Tusi PC. Both players going for the ball. No one was really dominated in that take, which is why the ref said it was a contest, so nothing, no foul play from either player. Just the landing at the end was not as most comfortable for Jean-Luc Duplessis. Seems got himself right in the back muscle. Well, his glutes are taking pain.
Yeah, well, hopefully it is. That's all it is. I was just a bit worried it might have been a shoulder. But Shimmy, you made the point a little bit earlier too about the accuracy of those little grubber kicks. But certainly, you know, the little up and unders and that have worked really well for them too.
Yeah, the Sunwolves, they're very good kicking. I know that the attack coach works with Robbie Deans for Panasonic. He's the backline coach. So obviously picked up a couple of tricks, and you can see, you know, the rhythm of their backline, the way they move, the short kicking. You know, they're obviously coached by New Zealanders, but the attack coach Nathan Major, we saw here also, the former Crusader, also involved there. So very New Zealand-like in terms of their approach when it comes to attack.
So that ball went a little bit wayward there for the Sunwolves, but they won it back, and big pressure, but there was a knock-on. So again, one of the rare areas, or errors rather, from the Sunwolves this evening. We talk about the defensive efforts as well of the Sunwolves stroke the Stormers. At the moment, the Sunwolves have just made 48 tackles. So just made 48. The Stormers have made 41. So they're right up there with them too.
It's a pole position that has favoured them too, and the handling errors starting to creep up as we talked about the humidity of this game. But because the Sunwolves carry the ball so much, the Stormers will make a lot of tackles, and they want to punish them, especially from the kick returns. As we can see, players like John Stewart has already made 24 metres as a left winger, so he's already shows you that the trend of this game that they're already playing.
Well, 5 turnovers won by the Sunwolves, but at the moment they're on the retreat with a good scrum this from the Stormers. Penalty advantage then to them, and an opportunity here for Duplessis. Cobus van Wyk coming back in field with his safety and security of his pack of forwards. Colby. Again, it's Peter Steph du Toit. Wasn't held in the tackle, so he's up and about again. It's good play that from the lock forward, Colby. And a little grubber kick this time puts a lot of pressure here on Viljoen, and he can literally just shepherd it back. That certainly is not a 22. It's a scrum 5, and that'll be the Stormers put in. But ball was carried back.
Yeah, and by the signs of that he wants to go to the top. He doesn't like that call. I tell you what, it was close. He's very, very patient there. Okay, they've given it a 22.
Oh, that's interesting. I really thought he carried that back. Maybe we'll see.
This is a good little kick out from Duplessis, but look at this. He's waiting. Now he carried that back.
Yeah, definitely.
No question.
Look at this again from the Sunwolves.
So PC looking to work that ball towards that far touchline, away from all the Stormers players. Kotze's got to run across field. Colby doing the right thing, just going back in field. Just resettle again. Now they've got numbers here. Elstad's pass wasn't the best of passes, just slowed down the advance of the Stormers on that occasion. Now Frans Malherbe. Schickeling. Can the Stormers just maybe find something different? It seems to be a little bit too much of the same old at times in their attacking forays, but maybe they're going to find some space. And here's Peter Steph du Toit. The pass has gone wayward and picked up eventually by Yamada.
Stop 2.
Now, Colby. Everybody looking for the excitement of Chislin Colby's ability to step and glide through gaps. It hasn't been forthcoming as of yet. Here's Ollie Kebbel. Well, we spoke about those 20 phases that the Stormers went through without scoring a little bit earlier in the half. And they're looking to build up those phases right now. And desperate, in fact, to score a try, not just to get another penalty, maybe. That's a little cross field there. So quickly through the hands of John Stewart. And in the background, the hooter for half-time. And Paul Williams agrees that it'll be a call for half-time then. And what a first half this has been for the Sunwolves. They'll hate to finish it off with an injury problem, but they certainly, and that's one of the men there, Rocky Mali, who's done such a good job. Half-time then, 14-3 to the Sunwolves.